Hi guys! Vivian's here, postcard from Cebu.
Thank you, baby. Hey guys, Ken here. So dating sites and scams. Vivian and I were talking about this the other night. It kind of ties into the last video that I made about a guy losing his house. And so there are guys that lose money long before they even buy a house. And what typically happens is they'll be chatting with a girl online and she'll ask for money, okay? And they send it to her. It might not be a lot. Usually the scammers will ask for a little bit first, a couple $100, and then if you bite on that, then they'll ask for more and more and more. Don't send money. Don't send money to a girl you've never met in person. I can tell you this, Vivian and I knew each other for quite a long time. Before I even made the first trip to the Philippines, she never asked me for a dime, okay? And still doesn't. And that, you know, we're married now, we're a married couple, and still I set up the banking situation. You may have seen that video where I transfer money over. But never to a woman you've never met in person, never send money. So if she asks you, you already got a big red flag, okay? Just break off that relationship. The other thing is, when you first start on these dating sites, there's a little chat function, and you chat with her a little bit. If you really like this, or you're very interested in this particular person, move it quickly to something like Skype or Facebook Messenger and chat with her using that. And take a look at the surroundings of what she's, where she is when she's chatting with you. She should not be in an internet cafe. An internet cafe is a kind of pay-as-you-go type of deal where, you pay some money and you get some time on one of the computers there. Unless she's really, really poor, she probably won't be using an internet cafe. Anyone that's in kind of the middle class in the Philippines will have an internet connection. That connection may be very slow, and it can definitely be very slow, but she'll have an internet connection. So the middle class in the Philippines will have their own internet connection. What Vivian said to me was, no chat cafe, chat her home. Chat her home. Make sure she's in her home when she's chatting to you. That's another red flag. That may or may not be a factor, because it may just be that she's too poor to afford a regular internet connection. But you want to know that. You want to know that going in, that is the situation. If she asks you for money, run away. I'm serious. Just run away. You've never met in person and she's already asking for money. That's a recipe for disaster. Another one that Vivian brought up is, when you do meet in person, if she's asking you to go shopping and buy her things and everything else, she's not in love with you. What Vivian said was, if it's love, she's not asking. That's what Vivian told me. If it's love, she's not asking. So she wouldn't be asking, if she really loves you, she's not going to be asking you to buy her things, to be constantly supplying her with cash and those kinds of things. So be on the lookout for that, guys. Do think with the big head when you're chatting with these girls. There are a lot of really wonderful Filipinas, okay? There are. And you can find them. But there are also a lot of scammers. One story that comes to mind, and I wish I could remember where I heard this, but there was a woman who was at an internet cafe and she was scamming guys. She was married. She had kids. She would go in the evening to the internet cafe and she was just raising money for her family. okay? She would pretend to be, all in love with whoever she was talking to, and then once she got some money, there went that connection, okay? So do be aware that these things exist. Now, having said all that, I do want you to realize that you hear about the bad. The bad things make the headlines, okay? They're all the buzz. And in the comments section below, and feel free, the bad things are going to make the headlines. They're going to be the most talked about. There are many, 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 many good relationships that go on between Filipinos and Americans, or Western guys in general. They're just not going to make the news because that's not exciting. That's not as entertaining. It's not as interesting as when things go bad, like the last video that I made. So do understand that there's a lot of good. It's out there, but you're not going to hear about that as often, okay? But bad things do happen. So you want to kind of be looking out for the possibility of bad things, and over time you can become more and more comfortable with the fact that the Filipino you're dealing with is on the up and up, and things are straight, and you're not being scammed and you're not being taken. But the very first thing, if she's asking for money, run. That's definitely, she's not in love with you. She might say it, she might want you to think that, but that's definitely not the case. The other thing is that, we talk about being in a relationship with a Filipina, and then some years later that breaks up. That may or may not have anything to do with there being a scam perpetrated here somewhere. Lots of people break up for lots of reasons. It happens, okay? And I mean, I was married for 20 years, beautiful, tall, blonde American woman. We had two wonderful kids together, and eventually it broke up. And it happens, okay? So regardless of the reason, sometimes relationships are relationships, and they do go south once in a while. I forget what the statistics are, but here in America, it's a very large number of marriages that fail. So understand that when you're entering into a relationship, there's always a risk that that relationship will end somewhere along the line. The other thing to consider is risk versus reward. Everything in life entails some risk. Even decisions you make about what course of study you want to pursue when you're in college or whatever, what jobs you take, everything involves some risk. And there's certainly risk in a relationship, especially a long distance relationship with a Filipina. There's an element of risk, and you have to judge: is the risk, is the reward worth the risk? Is it worth taking the risk? Okay. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. We are always looking for ideas. One of the other viewers left me a message and asked me to talk about fixers. So if you see something out there and you'd like to have an explanation about what it is or what the deal is with it, feel free, leave it in the comments section below, and we'll address that issue for you as best we can. And as always, hit that subscribe button up there. We really have been having a lot of great comments, so feel free to leave comments below. As long as they're appropriate, we will respond. And thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.